Thank you all for attending. Tonight, this is the second Dharma talk in a series covering the Buddha's first teaching, the last part of the Buddha's first teaching that he ever gave, the Eightfold Path. Last week we talked about conducive view. Today we're taking step number 2, conducive intentions. So the way to listen to this is the way we do everything else here in the Zendo. Focused on the breath, losing the boundary between yourself and everything else. Breathe, focus, and experience the talk. Just let it roll through you. Opening this Dharma, incomparably profound and minutely subtle, is hardly met with, even in hundreds of thousands of millions of eons. We now can see this, listen to this, accept and hold this. May we completely understand and actualize this, the Tathagata's true meaning. Called Zen Master Raving, the Teachings of an Wise Old Bird. Vows. Grey Wolf seemed to attend the meetings against her better judgment. One evening she came by anyway and said, "In every service, I renew my vow to save the many beings, but really, how can I do that?" Raven said, "It's your precious keepsake." Mallard asked, "How can a vow be a keepsake?" Raven said, "It reminds you of a loved one." Grey Wolf sat back and said nothing further. So what is this renewing of the vow that's being talked about in this? What is that? It's to save the many beings. It's a reference to a chant that's done in a wide number of Zen temples when there's a formal chanting service. Generally, the last chant is called Shigu Seigan, which means great vows for all. And those great vows are, however innumerable all beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha way is, I vow to follow it. When we as practitioners are chanting this, we're making a solemn promise to save all beings without condition. This is the vow of the Bodhisattva, the one who vows to not come back to reincarnate, or not to reincarnate until all beings are saved. This is the vow of the Bodhisattva to refrain from entering nirvana, to not exit this cycle of birth and death until all beings are saved. We're vowing to put an end to our non-conducive views, which was last week, the main non-conducive view, the view that prevents us from awakening, is that we're separate. So we're vowing to put an end to non-conducive views, to experience ourselves as being deeply interconnected as the first step on this path. We're vowing to fully integrate the Dharma, the Buddha's teachings, into our lives to fully grok this. We're making a vow to completely understand every single teaching and to actualize it in our daily life. And we're making the vow to do this lifetime after lifetime, to keep at this work, to this endeavor to awaken until we do it. So how's this possible? How on earth can we make a promise to do these things that sound so impossible? Isn't it likely that we're going to fail at this? Yep. Yes. It's pretty much guaranteed that you're going to fail. At some point, it's just not going to happen. And that's okay. We make the vows anyway. We do it anyway. There's no repercussion if you break this vow. We're human. There's nothing bad going to happen to you because you don't keep this vow. But the point is, the actual point of practice is when we realize that we're acting in ways that are counter to what we've vowed to do. And then just gently renew the vow to live in this manner and come back to the breath. It's all about coming back to the breath. And we make these vows because they're conducive intentions. The intentions that are conducive to our awakening to the truth of our existence, that help us along this path. Conducive intention is the second step along what the Buddha called the Eightfold Path. And last week, remember, we talked about conducive view, learning to see ourselves as the intimately connected beings, oneness that we are. And going back momentarily to what Zen Master Raven said, he said that these vows are our precious keepsake, that they remind us of a loved one. So who is this loved one that we're reminded of? Think about conducive view for a moment. So who is this loved one? It's ourself. It is us that these vows remind us of. Conducive view, step number 1, informs us that everything is one. So show me something right now that is not yourself. Show me something that's not worthy of our unconditional love every moment. This is part of the reason that these vows are in first person singular. We implies individuality. However innumerable all beings are, I vow to save them all. How many beings are there? One. One. However inexhaustible delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. How many delusions? One. However immeasurable Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. How many teachings? One. However endless the Buddha way is, I vow to follow it. How long is the Buddha way? It's just right now. That's it. That is it. May we extend this mind over the whole universe so that we and all beings together may attain maturity in Buddha's wisdom. And now, Zazen.